Pro-Defamation League quietly changed the definition of racism to exclude white people. Do I get to do a Razor Fist's dance now? How long have I been saying this? How long have I been pointing out that they always redefine words so it could specifically exclude them? Like, these guys are some of the most racist people who have ever existed, and they know they're a bunch of racists. So, how do they avoid being called out on their racism? Oh, let's just redefine the word racism to specifically exclude us from being able to be racist. And that's exactly what they did. The Pro-Defamation League, an organization that claims to have a nonpartisan agenda against hatred and discrimination, but is actually a partisan far-left outfit that regularly smears conservatives. Yeah, they claim to be anti-defamation, but their modus operandi is to defame people they don't like. Changed its definition of racism in current year -2 to exclude white people. The update bars the language of racism, suggesting that only people of color can be victims of racism, and that a system that prioritizes people who aren't white is not racist. Yep. See, what did I say? They want to be racist without being called racist. So they just made a few tweaks to the definition. According to its online archives, the change occurred sometime between June and September of current year -2. The change went relatively unnoticed at the time, but recently drew attention on social media. On June 1st, current year -2, the Pro-Defamation League's definition of racism was what most Americans would agree with. Racism is the belief that a particular race is superior or inferior to another, that a person's social and moral traits are predetermined by his or her inborn biological characteristics. Racial separatism is the belief that most of the time, based on racism, that different races should remain segregated and apart from one another. Now, doesn't this sound like what the tolerant left is doing? They want to segregate the races, that they want to, like punish white people in favor of others. So they're racist as all fuck. So of course they just have to change the definition. But by September of current year -2, after a summer of violence and looting brought about by burn, loot, murder, and Antifa, the old definition of racism was removed. In its place came a much shorter definition, more in line with what dictates the dictates of far-left critical race theory, or racism, and that defines racism as the oppression of people of color by white people. The marginalization and or oppression of people of color based on a socially constructed racial hierarchy that privileges white people. Yep. They went and did it. Oh, you can't call us racists anymore because we changed the definition, so we can't be racist. Tee hee. What are you going to do now? And just like that dictionary article I read a few weeks back, all this is doing is just destroying people's trust in these institutions, because the left in particular, they are pretty big on appeals to authority. So they infest institutions that have a lot of trust, and then they get those institutions to be their mouthpieces. And in their mind, oh, everyone trusts these institutions, so they're just going to listen and believe everything they spout, and we're going to brainwash the whole population. It's the same thing they did with Star Wars. Oh, we're going to take over Star Wars and use it to push our agenda. And all of these fans, they're just brainless, drooling mouth breathers. If we just slap a Star Wars logo on it, they'll eat it up. Spoiler alert, it never happens that way. If you infest a previously trusted institution and you turn it into a mouthpiece for your political propaganda and your ideology, all that's going to do is destroy the trust everyone had in that institution. All of its authority is going to disappear. The Pro-Defamation League's previous definition would have correctly, in the view of many Americans, defined far-left racism as racist, because it is. Because it suggests that a person's social and moral traits are predetermined, and white people are, due to their inborn characteristics, privileged and oppressive. The new definition adopts the very same argument, and making the Pro-Defamation League racist by its own previous definition of the word. The Pro-Defamation League's new definition also appears to endorse or at least not oppose racial hierarchies in general, just racial hierarchies that benefit white people. It implies that a racial hierarchy that left white people at a disadvantage would not be racist. Yup, that's the world we live in now. And it's only a matter of time until the pendulum swings back and these fucking racists actually get a taste of karma for what they've done. They've done more damage to the causes they claim to champion than they realize. We actually see this around the rest of the world. Have you guys been paying attention that ever since the alphabet soup lobby has gone completely off the rails in the Western world, anti-alphabet soup sentiment has been skyrocketing in the rest of the world? And I can understand why. Yeah, the rest of the world is probably looking at America and going, oh, so this is what happens when we accept those people? Yeah, maybe we shouldn't. So all of these insane activists have actively harmed the very causes they claim to champion. Except good luck getting any of them to admit that.